fans look at that waving sea of pictures and programs and autograph books. But Conway Jr. and Tony Atlas most certainly here are centering their thoughts on the opposite side of the ring where Colonel Buck Robley and Tank Patton are ready. So this should be quite a tag team battle. There is certainly no love lost between Tiger Conway Jr. and Buck Robley and Tank Patton. But Tony is into this event at the request of his friend Tiger. He flew in from California where he's been training for the Mr. America and Mr. Universe contests. And Tony has told the Tiger that he's with him all the way and he's going to stick with him all the way. The referees, Eric Mannheimer and Nick Kozak. So the rules are being explained to them, repeated to them, reiterated, but they very rarely stick very long with either Tank or the devious one, Colonel Robley. Now we've got the first fall started, the bell sounded, and Tiger Conway was going to step outside, but when Buck Robley decided that he was going to come in, Tiger wanted the piece of Buck Robley. This match could turn into a single scrap between Robley and the Tiger. They are aiming at each other. But Tony Atlas, while he is perhaps not as heavy as Tank Patton, who comes in about the 325-pound mark, he certainly has it distributed in his body better than any athlete I have seen in wrestling over the past 50 years. Not only does he have the muscle, it is useful, it's capable of bench pressing almost 600 pounds. It is capable of some moves of tremendous dexterity inside that ring. He is as agile as anybody I've seen. And right now, the war between Tiger Conway Jr. and Colonel Buck Robley breaks loose, and give and take and give and take and rock him and sock him, and down goes Buck Robley. Tony is letting Tiger get the revenge that he wanted at both of these fellows, and he is handing out a tremendous amount of punishment. Robley made the leg dive for self-protection, but he is caught now. Well, he was clobbered. Oh. That arm, you can't compare it to a 2x4 because most certainly the arm of Tony Atlas is 22 inches around at the bicep. And Robley catching it where he can afford to get it the least, right in the head. Crotch, lift, and then the atomic drop for Tiger Conway as he blasts loose at Buck Robley. Tiger caught one that time. He caught it right squarely in the line of the belt. And as Tony comes in, a headlock is a logical hold for him, because with Tiger using that headbutt, it surely shapes up the head of the Colonel so that he is going to suffer from continued punishment. Tony with that big bear-like hug of his, and Tank Patton almost made his entry into the ring that time. He thought he saw Tony's back unprotected and he was going to spring for it. The big squeeze as Tony uses it. And crotch, lift, slam, kick, and that's what I mean about that muscle man being agile. And in comes Tank Patton. Whoa! Atlas, beautiful coordination and timing. And listen to the uproar, the absolute uproar here in the Sam Houston Coliseum in Houston, Texas. Fans roaring their approval of Tony Atlas. Tony has won the Mr. USA contest once, so his aspirations to go into the Mr. Universe and Mr. America contest are well-founded. Conway, with that use of his head, uses it sometimes in the leg, sometimes in the midsection, and sometimes in an out-and-out headbutt. On bar as Atlas snares him. 5 minutes have gone by. On bar, the fans start to roar for Tony. And Patton's in trouble. He wants to go on the attack, but he's not sure what's going to happen to his arm if he does. Patton now pounding into Tony Atlas and looking for help from Colonel Buck Robley. Robley supplies the battering ram and holds it in there so that Tony was kneed right squarely in the solar plexus as he came in that time. You see Colonel Buck Robley trying to cut Atlas in half, and Atlas catching more punishment than he has had to this point, but he just threw him away. He just heisted that 270 pounds up in the air and threw it away. Bear hug as Colonel Buck Robley applies what he thinks is his best hold. Now listen, TNT, TNT, Tony and Tiger. And Atlas, the big squeeze around his midsection. Again, used his head, and he's trying to get that back working again, but he should have moved over a little more quickly to his partner. It was time for a change, and Tony was caught before he could take a step in the right direction. And Tank snaps that bear hug around there and does a good job of it. So they're putting the big squeeze on the midsection of Tony Atlas. Look at that arm. Tank got his head out of the way. He got it underneath the arm. He's putting the pressure in there solidly. And Atlas, with that squeeze being put in there, makes breathing difficult. From where we are, we can see the big, broad muscles of his back as he tries to marshal them in a manner that will give them all at once. But now he is moving his torso even more so and managed to get out of trouble. So Tony Atlas tried to maneuver that time, but he didn't quite make it. There is A touch by the Tank and his partner. It brings Buck Robley in, and they go for the crotch, the lift, the slam. And now the fans start to use their nickname for Colonel Buck Robley, whose yellow shirt has an inscription on there that declares that nobody calls me yellow. This crowd does it as one man. They scream, yellow, yellow. And Tony Atlas trying now to use brute strength to bust the bear hug, and busted he did. And Tony now is upset, caught by the leg, and maneuvered across that ring. Here comes Tank Patton in. Robley's going out, nursing his back, and Tony Atlas is racked up into the corner, but he's coming out of it. And he is coming out of it beautifully as he starts to punish Tank Patton, and in comes Tiger Conway Jr., who blasts away at the midsection of Patton. 10 minutes have gone by, and in as Robley comes in, he is decked in solid fashion. And the Tiger, who came into this match with a full head of steam, is uncorking that full head of steam for all he's worth. And Tony Atlas is letting the Tiger carry on because he's doing a great job in there, and he doesn't want to go in and steal his glory. But now he is taking care of Tank Patton. So Buck Robley goes out. Patton stays in. Tiger sets him up. Let's see who's setting who up. Well, that left arm swung out there and come under the chin and knocked the Tiger's head back. And we now have...
First ball, 10 minutes, 54 seconds. Tank Patton and Buck Robley.
So we have a fall for the team of the Colonel and the Tank. And we'll be back here in a moment, right after I have this word from the studio.
4, 3, 2, 1, second ball.
That bell starts fall number 2 as Tank Patton comes in and attacks Tiger Conway Jr. The Tank, of course, is trying to maneuver so that he can win in 2 straight falls. He's a man with a lot of wallop, and that arm of his, which wears a cast, it makes him doubly dangerous. There's 1, there's 2, and well, this fall was almost over right then and there. In comes Robley, and now in comes the toughness of Tony Atlas to try to force the issue because he didn't think Robley belonged in there. So Robley that time laid the back of his arm into Tiger Conway Jr. And there's a neck breaker. And on top is Colonel Buck Robley. Now the crowd starts the concerted chant. Just listen to that roar there as they scream yellow, yellow, yellow. As Conway is racked up into the corner, going for a pile driver, but he hasn't got it yet. Whoa, nice work by Conway. And Conway is close to Tony, but he has not yet touched him. There is the touch. In comes Tony, and they go to work on Buck Robley. Walloping and driving, and in comes Tank Patton. And somebody's got to go out. We've got two men from one side in there, but Tony's doing a good job of handling both of them at the moment. Hard landing, and as Tony goes in, takes a back body drop, front headlock, and then a back body drop, we could have a fall. And Robley oozed his way out from underneath. And Tony goes in for a bear hug, and that's the hold he wanted to get, because it's the hold with which Robley punished him before, and he puts those 22-inch biceps around there. He adds the huge forearms, and he's got plenty of weapon with which to squeeze. He just lays it in there with a good, solid, tight squeeze, and Tank Patton was starting to climb up on the on the turnbuckle. There's the bear hug, and I want to tell you, if ever a man was worth competing against the bear in the application of that hold, it would have to be a guy like Atlas. One of the strongest men I have ever seen in sports, and I'm talking about all other sports except weightlifting. Usually, Tony Atlas came down and landed on the drawn-up knees of Buck Robley, who was trying his best that time to protect himself, and in comes Tiger Conway Jr. And Conway is looking for a chance to get even. He just about had it that time, I'll tell you. Patton comes in, and Patton meets trouble. Patton meets a drop kick for sure, and he is hanging on. Tank trying to set him up. Nice move by Tiger. Boom. He dove in there with a driving cue ball of his, and we have the equalizing fall. The equalizing fall. Now we have the third and deciding fall coming up as Tony and Tiger, TNT, encourage each other. We'll be back in a moment after we have this word from the studio. So the countdown brought it down to the bell. Tank Patton is in the ring, and his father has come down to the ringside here to add a word to it. And here we have Tiger Conway Sr. coming up behind us here to encourage Junior in the... There is a veteran of the wrestling game, Tiger Conway Sr. And there, that roar of applause now, and that great, great enthusiasm that the fans show for Tiger Conway. And he is slamming the arm of Tank Patton into the tank, giving him a taste of his own medicine. And there's the touch. It means that Colonel Buck Robley's going to come in, and Tiger looks happy. Matter of fact, both Tigers look happy as the... So Robley comes out in what looks like a boxing stance. He made his first mistake. He took his eyes off of Tiger Conway, and the give and take now. It's mostly the giving as Tiger just knocks him flat. And on the outside of the ring, we've got an enthusiastic Papa Tiger bouncing around there and trying to set an example for Son Jr. Buck Robley in trouble as Tiger falls on him. Tiger wants more, give him more punishment. And Robley caught that one square in the kisser. Oh! I tell you, there are a lot of educated and solid blows being thrown in there as Robley now puts a stop to it by getting the sleep hold. Robley in behind, the hold that can produce unconsciousness, putting the big squeeze on the head of Tiger Conway Jr. And as Conway just sinks down to the canvas from the effects of the hold, why, we've got a private war going on between Tiger Conway Sr. and Tank Patton. Patton up on the ring trying to keep the veteran Tiger away from where he can give some advice and instruction. So Conway is showing these fans that he is still where he belongs. He's going for the small pack. He went for the 3, but he didn't quite make it. He got 2. In comes Patton, and Robley turns around to try to take an unexpected fling at him, and we've got the sudden reversal here. Tiger went from almost scoring a fall with that small package to the prospect of getting his block knocked off here as Patton tries his best to take advantage of the surprise of that kick produced. And now the Tank, confident, big, ooh, he comes in there. There's 1, there's 2, and Junior got out from underneath. And the argument with the referee, Eric Mannheimer. Tank thought he should have had a 3 count that time. And now we've got them doubling up. And so with Tiger Sr. on the floor and Tiger Jr. in the ring, Buck Robley is trying to bring this match to a sudden halt before something explodes and brings it there without him. Listen to the uproar here as Tiger Sr. roars his way through the ritual of cheerleading. He's got this crowd following him for sure, and the crotch hold, the lift, he drops him on the top rope, 5-minute mark, and this 3rd and deciding fall as Buck Robley tries his best now to glue Tiger Conway down to the canvas. You can see the result. That long white boot made it to the ropes and brought about the call for the break. Robley, rather Patton, trying to set him up again, and a kick right square in the face. Here comes Tony Atlas, and Tony uncorks, unwinds, wallops. Listen to the crowd going woof with every blow, and I'll go woof myself because I can feel this ring shudder as Atlas lifts him up over his head. I told you he had power. He shows power when he can lift a man at this stage after wrestling through 3 falls. And again, Tony came in there to use his head and he hit the floor. Bounced right down in there and hit the, not the floor, but hit the mat. Hit the canvas. And Patton is trying to scream to the Colonel to get over there and get his hand touched, but Tiger Conway right now is going to take the sick and devious one and blast his brains into a different shape. Tiger Conway Jr. going for the Boston Crab. He's got the Boston Crab. He is trying to lay it in there, but Buck Robley is pushing it. There goes referee Eric Mannheimer. The Colonel drove Tiger Conway forward and crashed into the referee, and now Nick Kozak is around looking for his helpmate. And we've got things going on outside the ring with Patton. Now we've got Patton outside the ring again as he is knocked there, and Tony takes advantage of him, takes care of him. Here comes a chair as Colonel Buck Robley tries to lay it in there with a chair. So we've got a chair in the ring. We've got Atlas in the ring. We've got Robley in the ring. We've got Tiger Conway Sr. on the outside. We've got this match breaking loose in all sections. We've got the tank, and the bell has sounded. I don't know what the decision has been.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the third fall in exactly 8 minutes, both referees disqualified both teams. The match is a draw.
They have disqualified both teams. What the referees are trying to say is that the match got out of hand, that they lost control of it. And their decision in this battle is to disqualify both teams, all 4 men.
We don't want it to end like this. Come on back here.
So Tiger Conway is trying to coax him back into the ring, and there is no sign that they are going to be successful. The uproar in the ring and around the ring leaves the 3 of them without opposition. We'll be back here in a moment after we have this word from the studio.